Welcome to Once Upon a Snooze Fest. I'm thrilled you chose to tune in. Hi there, I'm Nigel, your host. We're about to set sail on our journey to sleep. Get comfy so you can fall asleep. But first, a message from our sponsors. This story is about a pumpkin and its journey through the pumpkin patch. This is the pumpkin who smiled. Nestled in the heart of the countryside, there was a farm that seemed to be painted straight out of a fairy tale. Rolling hills, lush meadows, and a winding river framed this idyllic scene, creating a picture-perfect backdrop that soothed the soul. Rows of vibrant sunflowers swayed gently in the breeze, and the air was filled with the sweet scent of blooming wildflowers. At the heart of this enchanting farm lay a pumpkin patch, an oasis of orange and green. The pumpkin patch was a patchwork quilt of rich soil and sprawling vines, each tendril reaching out like eager hands toward the sky. This charming patch was a treasure trove of nature's wonders, where pumpkins of all shapes and sizes basked in the warm sunlight. Birds chirped melodiously from the nearby oak trees, and the occasional flutter of a butterfly added to the patch's whimsical charm. Life in the pumpkin patch moved to the rhythm of the seasons. Dewdrops sparkled like tiny jewels on the leaves in the early morning sun, while the gentle rustling of the leaves in the afternoon breeze made a soft, soothing symphony. It was a place of peace, growth, and quiet wonder, where each pumpkin had its own story, waiting to unfold. This is where our story begins, with a tiny pumpkin bud, brimming with curiosity and the promise of adventure. In the early days of its life, our little pumpkin was just a tiny bud on the vine, nestled among the large green leaves of the pumpkin patch. The sunshine gently warmed its skin, and the dew glistened like diamonds in the morning light. As the days passed, the bud's curiosity about the world grew and grew. Every morning, the rooster's crow signaled the start of a new day on the farm, filling the air with possibility. The bud would feel the gentle caress of the breeze, carrying with it the sweet scent of blooming flowers and freshly cut hay. It was a wonderful time, a time of patience and promise. The bud looked up to the taller, more mature pumpkins that surrounded it, feeling a sense of excitement about what the future held. It couldn't wait to grow bigger, to see more of the world beyond the pumpkin patch. There was a sense of wonder in everything. How the bees flitted from flower to flower, how the birds sang their songs perched high on the branches of nearby trees. Throughout the day, it watched as farmhands worked tirelessly, tending to the crops and caring for the animals. The bud listened intently to the laughter and chatter, learning about the world beyond its lush green domain. Each drop of rain that fell provided nourishment, and each sunny day brought warmth and growth. The pumpkin could feel itself changing ever so slightly day by day. Its tiny form stretched and expanded, soaking up every bit of nutrient-rich soil it could. The roots that anchored it to the earth were sturdy but also filled with a sense of potential. As the days turned into weeks, this little bud started to develop more defined features, beginning to resemble the pumpkins it so admired. The rhythm of life on the farm was soothing, the chatter of crickets at night, the distant moo of cows, and the steady hum of the tractor. All these sounds blended into a comforting symphony. Each night, when the stars twinkled overhead, and the farm had settled into a peaceful quiet, the bud felt a gentle peace wash over it. The night may be silent, but it was alive with dreams and aspirations. Through it all, the other plants in the patch became its companions. The sturdy stalks of corn rustled with whispers of encouragement, and the tall sunflowers turned their faces toward it, radiating warmth and support. In those first precious days, the little bud discovered the beauty and wonder of life in the pumpkin patch. Each moment was a step toward the bright, fulfilling future it could almost touch with its fresh green tendrils. The excitement of what was yet to come filled every fiber of its being. as it felt the promise of transformation and growth coursing through it with each passing day. Days turned into weeks as the small bud on the vine felt the warming embrace of the sun. Each morning, the dewdrops greeted it with a sparkling hello, nourishing the bud with the purest form of life. The first sprout of a tiny green leaf was a thrilling experience. It symbolized growth and the vibrant path ahead. As the days fluttered by, the pumpkin bud, which had started as a tiny, timid presence on the vine, began to evolve. The warm sun rays danced over the patch, coaxing each bud to stretch out and grow. Every drop of rain was a cherished gift, each raindrop soaking into the earth, feeding the roots, sustaining life. The rain's melody was a symphony that the pumpkin learned to love, knowing it brought strength to grow bigger and stronger. Friendships blossomed in the pumpkin patch, the vine intertwined with neighboring plants. The tomatoes shared stories of their rapid growth, boasting of their rich, red hues. The cornstalks stood tall, providing a shade of comfort on particularly sunny days, whispering tales of harvests past. The pumpkin learned so much from each conversation, cherishing the camaraderie shared amongst their community. Support from the patch family made all the difference. When the wind howled and bent the stalks, the vines held steady, hugging the soil with earnest determination. The pumpkin's skin grew thicker and its green hue deepened. Day by day, it began to take on a distinctive round shape. The once tiny bud was now growing into a prominent pumpkin, still adorned with hints of green amongst its developing orange color. The pumpkin loved the buzzing activity around it. Bees hovering nearby ensured the pollination process would bring many more young buds to life. Butterflies flitted about, spreading joy with each delicate wing beat, and the birds chirped songs of encouragement. The pumpkin couldn't wait to know what it would become, to fulfill its destiny. Evenings brought a peaceful calm. The glowing twilight cast a magical spell over the farm, stretching shadows across the patch and wrapping every plant in a serene blanket of night. The pumpkin relished these moments, reflecting on the growth of the day, dreaming of the future nights. One fine day, a transformation began to take place. The deep green was slowly but surely turning into a bright, healthy orange. It was a sign of maturity, a testament to the richness of the soil, the purity of the water, and the caress of the sun. The pumpkin was now plump and full, basking in its own reflected glory, proud of how far it had come. As summer melted into fall, the farm bloomed with festivity. The air was crisp, the leaves turned shades of red, yellow, and brown, and the pumpkin was at its most vibrant, standing as a symbol of ripeness, of completion. It loved how the cornstalks rustled gently in the cool breeze, how the scent of harvested hay permeated the air, and how sunsets painted the sky in warm hues. But it wasn't just the beauty that made the pumpkin feel alive. It was the bond with its fellow plants, the shared stories, the collective growth, and the whispers of the wind that told of endless possibilities. The pumpkin knew it would soon be time to fulfill the next part of its journey, but relished every moment of this phase of growth and thriving. In the heart of the golden patch, surrounded by friends and nurtured by the farm, the pumpkin had become something truly magnificent. From a tiny bud, timid and curious, to a proud, full-grown pumpkin, it had lived a life of wonder, growth, and joy. Every sunbeam, raindrop, breeze, and friendship had contributed to this beautiful transformation. As the days grew shorter and the nights longer, the pumpkin sensed a new chapter approaching. Change was in the air, but for now, it rejoiced in the thriving life of the patch, a testament to the magic of growth and the power of nature's nurturing hand. One crisp autumn morning, the pumpkin patch was awash with the soft glow of dawn. Birds chirped a melodic tune, and the gentle breeze rustled through the leaves. Yet nestled among the thriving vines was one pumpkin, our pumpkin, growing bigger and stronger each day. But this morning, there was a different energy in the air, a sense of anticipation and unease. Our pumpkin had become accustomed to the comforting embrace of the earth, feeling the warmth of the sun on its smooth skin and the cool dewdrops that greeted it each morning. It loved the sounds of the farm, the conversations between the other pumpkins, and the rhythmic hum of bees visiting flowers nearby. The pumpkin felt secure, loved, and at home. As the sun climbed higher, shadows grew shorter, and the hustle and bustle of the farm picked up. Farmers began their work, and the pumpkin overheard snippets of their conversations about the upcoming harvest festival. Suddenly, a shadow fell upon our pumpkin, blocking out the sun. It looked up to see the towering figure of a farmer, his hands reaching down. This was the moment every pumpkin both dreaded and hoped for, the day of being picked. Strong hands cradled the pumpkin, lifting it gently but firmly from the vine that had been its lifeline since it was just a bud. There was a sharp tug, and then the connection to the earth was severed. The pumpkin felt a wave of sadness wash over it. What would happen now? The comforting soil, the camaraderie of the patch, the daily cycles of light and dark, all were left behind in an instant. Carried across the field, the pumpkin tried to understand this new change. Everything felt strange and uncertain. Gone were the familiar sights and sounds, replaced by new, overwhelming sensations. The pumpkin passed by rows of cornstalks, hay bales, and crates filled with other harvested crops. They all seemed to look at it with a mix of sympathy and encouragement. Our pumpkin was set down gently in a wooden crate with other pumpkins, each of them sharing their own anxious whispers. There was a collective sense of loss and a shared longing for the patch that had been their world. Yet among the worry, there was also a sense of curiosity. What lay ahead? What purpose would they now serve? The pumpkin couldn't help but feel a deep pang of sorrow, missing the familiar comfort of the patch. However, amidst the uncertainty, there was a glimmer of hope. Perhaps this wasn't the end, but a new beginning. As the sun dipped below the horizon, casting golden hues over the farm, the pumpkin tried to focus on that hope, wondering and waiting for what came next. The pumpkin sat dejected, rudely picked from the comforting patch where it had spent its entire existence. It felt empty, wondering what purpose could possibly lie ahead. Days passed in a blur of uncertainty, until one crisp autumn afternoon, everything changed. Gently cradled in a farmer's arms, the pumpkin was carried to an inviting porch adorned with fall decorations. The aroma of cinnamon and apple cider filled the air, mingling with the laughter of children running around in eager anticipation. For the first time since it had been plucked from its leafy home, the pumpkin felt a sense of curiosity. Something was about to happen. With careful precision, the farmer began to work. Eyes, slanted and jovial, were carved into the pumpkin's resilient skin. Each cut felt like a breath of life entering its orange shell. A broad, toothy grin followed, giving what once had been an ordinary pumpkin a personality, a spark of individuality. As the final touches were perfected, the pumpkin felt an unfamiliar sense of eagerness. Once transformed, it was no longer just a pumpkin. It had become a jack-o'-lantern, a symbol of joy, excitement, and the enchanting spirit of Halloween. Perched proudly on the porch, it commanded the attention of every passerby, its face illuminated by a flickering candle placed inside. Warmth from the flame seemed to pulse through its entire being, chasing away the sadness that had once consumed it. The pumpkin began to understand its new role. It was no longer a simple vegetable waiting for an uncertain fate. It was a beacon of light on chilly autumn nights, a guardian watching over trick-or-treaters as they ventured bravely into the dark. It brought smiles to children's faces, eliciting gasps of delight as they admired its spooky, yet friendly, expression. As the days passed, it found joy in the new rhythms of life. Each evening, it watched the sun set across the sprawling fields, casting long, golden shadows over the landscape. The cool night air brought with it a sense of calm and purpose. It was amazing to think how much had changed in such a short time. The pumpkin, now a jack-o'-lantern, realized that its life had indeed taken a new path. one it had never anticipated but had come to cherish. It was a path lined with laughter, light, and the unbridled excitement that only Halloween could bring. No longer was it sad about leaving the patch. Instead, it felt gratitude for the journey that had led it to this moment of transformation. As Halloween night approached, the air buzzed with excitement. Illuminated by its inner flame, the jack-o'-lantern felt alive in a way it had never known. The once still, contemplative pumpkin now found itself amid the sounds of joy and celebration, its new grin matching those of the revelers who marveled at it. It had discovered a new purpose and, with it, a profound sense of fulfillment. The farmer, the children, and the entire neighborhood had given it a role, making it a cherished part of their traditions. And so, for the first time, the pumpkin felt truly complete, knowing that its glow brightened more than just the porch light. It brightened hearts and brought a sense of wonder to all who saw it. In this joyful transformation, the pumpkin embraced its new identity, relishing the magical feeling of renewal and the beauty of becoming something more than it had ever imagined. And so, as the glowing jack-o'-lantern illuminated the crisp autumn night, the pumpkin reflected on its remarkable journey. From the tiny, curious bud that first sprouted in the warm embrace of the pumpkin patch, to the vibrant, full-grown pumpkin basking in the sunlight, every moment had been magical. Though the day it was picked brought a wave of sadness and uncertainty, it was this very change that led to a beautiful transformation. Now, with its bright, carved smile, the pumpkin served a splendid purpose, bringing joy and wonder to all who beheld it. This newfound life as a jack-o'-lantern wasn't just about shining bright. It was about embracing change, finding new beginnings, and realizing that every stage of life holds its own unique beauty. The flickering candle inside mirrored the warmth and excitement that had always been a part of the pumpkin's spirit. As it stood proudly on the porch, the pumpkin knew that it had a role in creating memories and magic for the countless children and families that celebrated the season. In the end, the pumpkin's journey was a testament to the beauty of transformation, the joy in finding new purposes, and the endless possibilities that each day can bring. And in that simple yet profound realization, the pumpkin's heart glowed even brighter than the candle within.